Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear me loud and clear? Get a little audio test going on here. Hopefully, everybody's having a good day today. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Be in the chat saying yes. Sounds good. Welcome everyone to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of the show is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we could take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I'm Coach Jay. Been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. Trading for the past 14 years in the futures market for the past 7 now. And Coach Paul is in the green room. So let me get him in here and we'll get started in just a second. Coach Paul, give me a thumbs up if you're good to go. Give me 1 second here. Get Coach Paul in here in just a second. Hopefully everybody had a good trading day today. Go over what happened in the markets in just a bit, but get our guy in here first. Oh, there you go. Coach Paul, we're live. How are we doing today? Second, I can't hear you. Give me an audio test, Coach Paul. I'm not getting anything on my side from you. So if you want to check that audio, then I'll bring you right back in. Coach Hoop, we're doing it live. We are doing it live. New camera? No, it's not a new camera. I don't know if it looks different. Hopefully it looks better if it is a new camera. Hopefully it looks better, but we'll give Coach Paul just a minute to get in here. Looks super clear. Interesting. Oh, that's a good thing. I'll take that. We'll give him a minute here. I'm not hearing you, Coach. Let's take a look at the news while we wait for Coach Paul here. We got initial jobless claims came out today, a little bit lower than expected, 212,000. Forecast was 216,000. Continued jobless claims came in at 1.833 million. Forecast was 1.858 million. Of course, we had the NVIDIA earnings last night. We talked about that. NVIDIA was down pretty heavy. One of the things we talked about was, the knee-jerk reaction to a lot of these earnings is not usually going to be the real move. I think I saw a bunch of people posting on social media and in the chat that, the move after NVIDIA is normally a sell-off, and it has been a sell-off over the 3 days after the NVIDIA print. And that's exactly what we got today, right? Really aggressive down day. I think at one point NVIDIA was down 5% on the day. So really aggressive selling there. And we've been saying it, but as NVIDIA goes, the markets are going to go as well. 14% of the NASDAQ, 7.5% of the S&P. So as NVIDIA goes, the equity markets are going to go as well. I know we've been looking at this being a potential catalyst to get us out of this chop range, and hasn't done it, right? We sold right back off into range here today.
Okay, check.
All right, there we go. Now we got you. Let me bring you in here. There he is. Let's get that audio check one more time, Coach Paul.
Checking. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, there we go. Good to see you. How we doing, Coach Paul?
Oh, sorry. I got caught up in some back testing and I didn't realize what time it was.
Uh-oh. We got a new strategy on deck.
No, not a new strategy, but back testing some things that I've been working on. And ever get caught in that world?
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
didn't even realize what time it was. So I'll do my push-ups after the show.
That's all good. That's all good. How was your day today, Coach?
Good. Great day. Started off poorly. Poorly. I took some losses early, but that opening, we had that urgency that we like to see,
Yes, it did.
and turned it into a nice day. Um,
Yes, it did. Turned into a great day for sure. I had a messy day today as well. You know, we talked about, the setup was there. The setup that we talked about was exactly what played out. We talked about it during the opening call, but sometimes the setup is there and the execution of it is kind of dirty. So I had a back and forth day. Turned out to be a winning day, and a pretty good one. We'll review that. Ches asked a question here in the chat. Can you explain how to set up the trailing drawdown when I'm already in profit to avoid going red? You can see I have that here. So trailing personal daily loss limit is what you see here. I set mine to $500 from my P&L high. I was up $2,500 on a day. Didn't want to give back more than $500 if I saw a decent trade setup. And I gave back half of that and I said, okay, I'm done. But the way to set that up is in the settings here. You have your personal daily loss limit. You're going to do this after you've already made money for the day, but I set mine to $500, liquidate and block. So if I lose 500, it's going to block me. Most important part of this is to set it the enable trailing to your realized gains. If you set this to unrealized gains, then it's going to do unrealized P&L tracking, which there could be a reason to do that as well. For me, I like to do it on realized gains, and if I lost $500 from my P&L high at any point, it was going to block me out. So great setting, great feature. We had MP and Mick on Topstep TV today talking about the risk management features and how we're looking to even bring some more into it. One of the best features in trading, period. Coach Paul, I don't know how many times in my trading career I've been up on the day, wanting to be up more on the day, and then ending up down on the day. Not just down from the P&L high, but down total on the day.
and that demoralizes you.
Man,
And it's something to recognize so that when we talk about risk management, there's talk and then there's action. What I'm saying is, in that spiral, we know what we're supposed to do,
yep,
right? And it's overwhelming. Setting up blockades to
yeah,
stop that is a key feature. I don't know of any other platform that does this, and it's a really really great feature. So I highly recommend setting that up, especially if you've been suffering from that. And most most traders I know go through that, uh, uh, and it's something that is, like I said, easy to say, harder to execute. So why even take it out of your hands and put it into the platform? That's
yeah,
I wish I had that when I was on the trading floor.
man. Uh, we would be talking, about some different things if I had a feature like that. But hey, we have it now, so why not use it? Shout out to the team that built the feature because I use it almost every day. And who was it? Ches, you said setting it up now. Just be careful when you're setting it up, right? So if you go to, let's say tomorrow starts the day, and normally my DLO is going to be 12% of my account balance. So normally I'm going to start the day like this. Uh, 2,400 is my daily loss limit, and it's set to liquidate and block. I'm only going to use the trailing once I've made profits on the day of a certain amount, right? If I set this to $500 from realized gains and I start the day at zero, if I lose $500, it's going to lock me out. So just be careful with when you set that. Normally I set it again, like I said, once I've made some profits on the day, but good, good on you for wanting to set that up. You should be good now, coach.
Oh, good. Yep.
All right. So let's get into these markets. I also see some traders in the chat. I ask you guys all the time how your day went. Were you up in the day, down in the day? I see Wheat, saying you lost a funded account yesterday. FD Trader lost like a funded account today. Saying it's harder and harder to bounce back from it. Just what I want to ask you, anyone who's lost a funded account or anything like that, what is happening prior to losing that funded account, right? If it's happening and something that happens recurringly, there's a way to fix that, right? Coach Paul was just talking about back testing. Backtesting is reverse engineering something that you've seen play out over time and then trying to figure out the steps to repeat that. And I think it's the same thing when we may repeatedly lose accounts. There's something in there that we can figure out to try to alleviate that from happening. So try to note down whatever that thing is. And impatience, right? Coach Paul, you ever deal with impatience in your trading?
All the time.
Does it ever pay?
God, no. But what's the difference? I mean, that's a really good question. How do you know what impatience is not belief in your trading.
Yeah. Yep.
In that, we can get under subtitles tagged under this is fear of missing out, greed, you name it. Those are emotions that are, that create impulse.
Yep.
So I we talk about this a lot when we try to predetermine whether but it's going to do a breakout. Well, I'll get in early, I'll get a better price. That is impatience. And that but again, if I had to keep and this is what's important about keeping a journal.
Yep.
We could easily just let that go, oh, I'm going to wait next time. But if you journal it and you and keep score, both how many times you do it and how much it cost you overall,
Yeah.
that will lead to discipline. And when you discipline yourself, patience becomes easier and natural to do. I actually did that at the end of last year, and then when you start seeing the cost of impatience, you have direct reason to practice it.
Absolutely. And I'll say it. Impatience is. I don't think it's something that you overcome. It's something that you have to manage every day. I was extremely impatient today, and it could have cost me. And I've been thinking about Coach Paul. I've been recording my trades since I've been in this live account and back at home. Been recording all my trades that I'm taking, and I'm trying to decide exactly what we're going to do with that. I was extremely impatient today, and to be honest with you guys, it's you have to realize the pattern in yourself and what happens. You're not going to avoid it every time. Sometimes the market is going to, present an opportunity that you want to jump at, and you have to be patient enough to trade it. And if you're not, that's something day to day that could cost you. There's a point in the recording today that I have, and like you said, journaling is important. Maybe you guys want to do this as well. I did this, as a journal for years, a couple years ago, just recording myself, kind of like we're doing right now. There's a point today where I'm sitting in a trade and I said, Jay, calm the F down. I had to say it out loud. And it's on the recording because I've found myself being impatient in real time. But you have to have something to be able to pull you out of that frame of mind. And then it turns out to be a good trading day, right? If I stayed in that impatient mindset, we'd be talking about a losing day today. So find a way to manage it on a day to day. And I think you could really overcome that. So let's take a look at the quote board. We got 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts today. To the downside, we have micro Ethereum down 2.26%, micro Bitcoin down 2.64%, and silver, our biggest percentage mover, to the downside, down 2.7%. To the upside, we had RBOB gasoline futures up 0.65%, wheat futures up 0.75%, and soybean oil, our biggest percentage mover, to the upside, up 1.71%. To talk about our big four, we had crude oil up 0.08%. If you were watching crude oil, that's not the day that we had in crude. The S&P down 0.62%, gold down 0.43%, and the NASDAQ down 1.25%. Again, NVIDIA was up a decent amount after the close today. I traded the S&P today, Coach Paul. I know we normally look at a default to look at the NASDAQ. Very similar charts here. I want to look at the S&P. Let's take a look at the S&P on the daily to start. What are we seeing here?
Well, more rotation of on that daily. that's it's hard to even explain how random that is. Yesterday we had a great rally. We gave it right back today.
Yeah,
Indecision is the number one thing that comes to my mind.
for sure.
And we just talked about patience. Sometimes I bought it last night. I had a stop in below the market in the new lows, and I was in profit. And it was killing me. I wanted to add to it. And I was getting impatient. And then that stop on my long cost me what $150.
Yeah,
Now that my patience of not adding, not predetermining, waiting for that open because this market looked great this morning before the New York Open.
yeah,
Took a good loss. And then what I'm looking at was I was pretty confident this was a strong market. We would get some follow through.
yeah,
Patience came from recognizing, reading, because we talk about fragmented information. That urgency selling in the NASDAQ and the S&P, my patience was rewarded. I'd say I rarely trade both sides of the market. Today, I did and was rewarded for my patience.
nice.
I didn't see that coming, but staying in the present, reading the flow takes a lot of patience.
It does.
One of the roots of impatience is a predictive mindset. It did this, so it's going to do that.
Yeah,
And then without it, when I talk about a trading plan, executing the plan creates patience by default. So this I did not see the violence coming, and we stay in this I'll call violent rotation.
yeah. Uh, it's funny. Patience was required today, and if I was patient and let the market play out, there was a pretty clean trade setup. So let's break down kind of what happened here. We looked at it on the daily, on the 30. What's that white line? 200 moving average on the 30-minute. One of the things we talked about during the opening call today was that NVIDIA candle. This is what's called a non-validation of this price action from a volume perspective. Stick with me here. We have the biggest 30-minute candle of the day yesterday after the close, 23 points in the S&P after the close on low volume. We say it all the time, the knee-jerk reaction to earnings, it's hard to really trust that move until the volume gets a chance to respond to it. And all of this volatility is going to happen in a thin market where there's not a lot of people on the order book. So we get a ton of price action on lower volume. We say it all the time, volume matters. Sometimes the lack of volume on the order book can lead to volatility. We saw it in silver and gold a couple of weeks ago. So this price range matters because if the market is going to accept this response, then when the volume comes in, we should be able to see acceptance of that response, right? So coming into the open, seeing the rejection at 50% of this level, this area here, 69.72. My question is, and we were talking about this during the opening call with Hogue, when that volume comes in, what are they going to say? And as soon as it came in, they said, "Why the hell are we trading up here?" And there was urgency to the downside, and this is what we look for. Now, again, putting the puzzle pieces together, to me, this was probably an A+ setup day to the short side, and I almost had a losing day. So even if you have a really strong idea of where you think the market can go, if you don't execute it properly, there is an opportunity for you to lose when you're right. And that was me today, where I got in the initial short right on the break. I'm pretty sure I was short right around 69.44 here on a one lot. And shout out to my guy, Coach Paul, who does a pivot class in Discord. Coach Paul, what was your first level of support in the S&P?
Good question. I don't have it in front of me. I have it on my chart. I'll give it to you. Second.
Pretty sure it was 69.17.
Yes, it is.
So Jay got in short today at 69.40 and said 69.17 is the target. I'll post that recording at some point. Maybe I'll do it at the end of the day today. But I didn't execute like 69.17 was the target. I executed like I needed to take the first green I saw on the screen. And that's reality. Sometimes we're impatient, right? If 69.17 is the target, why can't we get in and let it work, right? Now, there are ways to manage the trade. We can see this. This was a clear trend to the downside. And again, in this chop range here, I was going through it a little bit. There was a point where I was not going to, again, have a profitable day because of how I executed this trade. Also, I was taking a Russell trade as well that, just happened to not work out, which is fine. But when I took the initial profit on this trade and then saw it continue to work in my favor, this chop range here, again, led to a little bit of impatience. What I will say is when I took a step back and realized what was going on, this candle right here, we say it all the time, sometimes high volume means continuation. That was the highest volume 3-minute candle outside of the open. And when I finally caught onto a trade that worked, I said, I'm going to get short here, right around 50% of this candle. The risk is going to go above the high and I'm going to let it work, right? That's what I have to do in order for this to work out. Now, it doesn't have to, right? It doesn't have to. But if this is showing me that this has the potential to be the trend for the day, then I have to let the market do its job, right? I can't try to jump in and get in front of it. So there's this candle and then there's this one. These are, if you're ever in a trending market and you see candles like this, these are beautiful examples of things that you can anchor to. Maybe if you haven't gotten in already and you're looking for an opportunity to get in, again, highest volume candle outside of the open, we're holding 50%, risk can go on the other side. And then this is another, what was the common F down candle? It was these two candles that I'm looking at right now, Bink. I was doing a bunch of trying to catch the move, but trying to avoid loss at the same time. And again, we're not perfect, right? Anyone who shows you their trading is going to be like, oh yeah, you get in here, you get out here, you make a bunch of money. Man, if it could work for me that way, I would have a lot less gray hair.
Are you saying that nothing's certain?
Nothing is certain. Nothing is certain.
Right.
So, we deal with uncertainty, and sometimes the way the uncertainty plays out can, alter your decision making. If I'm a quarterback and my O-line is not blocking and I'm getting blitzed every time I try to throw the ball, I'm probably not going to make great decisions, right? So the way the market's moving around, and I think in my case, because I trade on a 3-minute chart, these 3-minute candles just weren't very clean. I decided to trade the S&P over the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ was much cleaner, but the way this was happening, it wasn't the easy trade to hold. So I got chopped up in here, and then Bink, it was actually this candle. It was this candle where I got short eventually. Average price was 69.30 and said, yes, if it closes above that high, then I'm out. We have everything is saying that this has the potential to be the trend, so find a place to get in. And it turned out to work out. Courtney, the full out on the last one, I was still short from 69.27 with a runner and got out on the pop back up above 68.92. So
Nice trade.
Thanks. But it was a mess. It was a mess. And like I said, I'll upload that video eventually, but it was a mess. What is the 50% measure you use, Coach? This is just a fib tool, fib retracement tool. 0.5 and 1 is what I'm looking at here. And again, I think Coach Paul, here, you know what? I'm just going to show it. Whatever. Show the P&L. We have to show the way it was made, right? Sometimes, again, we get this. Yeah, exactly, right? So Mick was on air today. We had a bunch of traders in the live accounts today with The top 5 traders were all above $34,000. And I think there is this stigma in trading right now, Coach Paul, that it has to be pretty. Sometimes it's not pretty. I was listening to what Mick said, and everyone asked the question, right? Somebody was up 50 grand today. Everyone asked the question. They were just like, how does this trader make 50 grand? And I think the assumption is that they get into one trade and they just hold it the entire time, and that's it. I'll be honest, anytime I've had a big trading day, that has not been it. So I'm going to show my execution. Why not? Sometimes it gets ugly until it's pretty. This was a mess. But this is why, Coach Paul, you gave that suggestion, 12% of your account, don't lose it. Sometimes it's going to be messy. Sometimes it's going to be, and in this case, my execution of this was a mess until I decided to sit back and let the market do its job when it was doing a clean job, right? Look at the candles here. Look at my executions. Look at the candle here. I got shorts 3 lot, 69.27. Risk goes above the high. And now when the market cleans up, my trading cleaned up. It's not always going to be pretty. Don't try to make it pretty. Coach Paul, you tell your basketball players this all the time, right? The kid that wants to do between the legs, behind the back because it's a cool move. I don't need pretty. I need to win the game.
I need to score.
You need to score.
Another thing is, we talked about, it isn't pretty. It's, remember, trading, we make decisions under pressure.
Yeah.
And we always hear, I talk about the practice all-star. Knows all the plays, knows the structure, knows the defense, because we're practicing.
Yeah.
Now, get into a game, and uncertainty enters the equation. That same player can just disintegrate, make bad decisions when it's live. It's much the same in trading, because of this heightened emotion of under pressure.
Yeah.
We're tempted to just throw out all the rules and go into panic mode. Being able to change your structure, your mind, with staying in a process is difficult. What usually comes under this situation is, I got to get that money back.
Yeah.
And what kind of decisions are you making when you're just trying to trade money? So we talked about people making $30,000 or $50,000 days.
Yeah.
Your job as a trader is to make good decisions with the capital you have. Because the one thing we don't know, when someone makes that kind of money, what is their balance?
Correct. Yeah.
The other thing we got to know is, is it happening consistently?
Right.
Like, did that person drop 25 yesterday, 10 the day before, make
Correct.
50 in relative terms? But what happens when we're focused on what someone else is doing?
Yeah.
What happens with jealousy?
Yeah.
I'm such a small little weasel. I can't make $100. I'm losing 300. I'm going to trade 5 minis now. All these things go out the door. Don't compare yourself to that. You get better by executing a plan.
That
the
you
trades
developed.
that you make, you can't force them to be right.
100%.
Or to be in red. And I actually had to stop about a year ago, stop seeing the markets, or my P&L is red is bad and green is good.
It just is.
I like what you do. Yours is gray.
Yeah, I got to change that back, actually. Why don't I do that right now? That's how that's how I got to this live account. We're changing that back right now.
Yeah. So neutralize that. If you're trading well, you can lose money. I'm going to say that again, and really absorb this, especially if you're a newer trader. Red P&L can be a great trading day.
Could be a day you manage your risk.
You managed your risk well. You took trades. You can't have a poor red day. That's why we come back to the 12%. And someone asked, why 12%?
Great question.
It is a great question. Through my experience, and working with a lot of traders, you get a default daily loss limit of 50%. But it used to be. I don't know what it is because I set it at 12. Now, if you want to be business-like, you can't lose 50% of your operating capital, your equity balance. You can't lose 50% in one day and be business-like.
Yeah.
Now, this is highly leveraged business, so we have to give it funds on one trade. They would risk 1% of their capital on any position. But that's not realistic in the prop game. Just as much as it's not unrealistic to expect yourself to recover if you lose 50% of your capital in a mere hours. So 10%, I came down to 10%, and you can't be exact. There's nothing exact.
Yeah.
But 12% is it gives you a little room. But beyond that, usually that's the beginning of the big downward spiral. It like, holy shit. I know I did this.
Yeah.
When I first started trading on the floor, one of the things I didn't have an idea of what size I should be trading. Everybody tells you you're a one lot Willie.
Yeah.
And right away, I'm not a Willie. I'm not a one lot. I'm a man. I'll take 10.
Right.
For what? The next
Ego.
thing I know, I'm just relying on luck.
Yeah.
Now, luck can work both ways, right? But what I'm coming back to is I was extremely volatile. If I was right, I would add to the winner. I had it all figured out.
Yeah.
Now, over time, because it's a serious time, I take I'm a 10 lot trader now. I don't have a pit. And immediately I get punched in the mouth with a loss, and I'm like, I can't take this loss.
Right. Yep.
So understand being consistent and not allowing yourself. That's how you don't blow up. If you think about this, 10 to 12%, or let's just say it's to make it easy math, 10%. If you limit that in your drawdowns, it's very hard to lose 10 days in a row.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Right. You still have to have a decent win rate, right? You can't just. And I think one of the things, Coach Paul, that people hear when they say that is, okay, I'll lose 12% every day, right? Like 12% is the max I'm going to lose. One of the things I recall you saying with that 12% suggestion is that it shouldn't happen often, right? It shouldn't be the norm that you're losing 12%, but that's the max that you should lose with trying to continue to trade. Aaron in the chat has, so on the flip side, would you shoot for 12 to 14% of profit? If you're losing 12% every day, then you have to. But if you can manage your losses and stay under that 12%, then you don't necessarily have to clear 12% every single day, because like Coach Paul said, it's kind of hard to lose 10 days in a row, 12 days in a row. So, stacking days over time should cover the 12% as long as it doesn't happen all the time.
Well, it helps you limit your downside.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
It's a function of cut your losses.
Yeah.
Let your winners ride. So somebody, Aaron asked, so should you shoot for 12 to 24% profits? I don't cap the upside.
Yeah,
There are days good, but if I work on that by having 2-to-1 risk reward trades, specific trades. It's just as hard to make 24% in a day, or have 10 winning days in a row. But the key point is, I really said, well, here's the principle. Number one in winning is cut your losses and let your winners ride. Okay, that's a great statement. It's a principle, but how do you do that?
Yeah, that's the tough part. That's what makes this so difficult. But here we go. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Again, very similar trade here. We'll just do a quick rundown here. NVIDIA candle. Big range, low volume. No price acceptance. Sorry, no volume acceptance. Really no price acceptance inside this range. Here, the yellow line is VWAP from the full session. We have price trade higher. Price advertises higher. Volume doesn't agree. What happens when the real volume steps in? It falls apart. And just a really beautiful trade here. Man Cave, I saw you in the chat earlier today saying you caught this. Man, trading this range in the NASDAQ, I think a lot of people are upset about talking about the same prices. Hey, you want to sell off this aggressively from the high of the range that we know has been the high of the range for a long time? I'll take it. Really aggressive sell-off here, and we just look at the NASDAQ really quick on the daily. Right now, we're sitting at right at 50% of the October 10th candle. So for tomorrow, this is somewhat middle of range. We'll see what happens. We were opening up the day near the upper extreme of the range, so it was a clearer trade. Tomorrow will be in the middle. I think it's going to require some patience to trade the NASDAQ tomorrow, depending on what happens in the overnight session tonight. But again, really nice trade opportunity. And Coach Paul, we're sitting at 50% is also the white line.
The white line also, going back to that daily.
Yeah.
Let's look at the moving averages again.
That 50.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's not good looking at all.
The 200, the 20, and the 50 are about as close as they've been since last year.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the death cross? The 50 under the 200.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we've spent 3 months now without making a high. I mean, all-time high, it was just a matter of time. That 20 is getting awfully close to the 200.
Yep.
I thought we had broken out of it yesterday, but in review, what was the high yesterday?
50 moving average.
The 50 moving average
on the daily.
On the daily, and you're going to talk about impatience. I was feeling, well, it's just going to happen.
It's time, yeah.
And no, you know what? New information came in.
Yep.
And don't anchor yourself to your opinion.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Here we go. I see some questions in the chat. China Pug, if you have a moment, could you please go over your moving average indicators on your preferred timelines? Daily, 30-minute. On the daily, I'm looking at the 20, the 50, and the 200. Got to give a shout out to Coach Paul here. The 20 and the 50 are going to be the yellow and purple lines on my charts. The 20 is the yellow, purple is the 50, white is the 200. That's just kind of giving me the overall sentiment of the market on a higher time frame. We're holding above that 200. You can see how supportive that is. If we start to break here, and the way I'm reading this is, and we've been saying that the beginning of 2026 feels like a lot like the beginning of 2025. There's still a lot of uncertainty going on out there. If we start to see some pressure under this 200 on the daily, I think things could get ugly. And then on the 30-minute, for me, I'm only looking at the 200. I've decided that it's the cleaner level to look at on a more medium time frame. And just looking at this white line, 200 moving average on 30. Yo Soul says taking profit is my albatross. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing to do, right? Where's the line between taking profit and letting the market work out? For me, and shout out to Mark Minervini, who had an interview where he said you can't do both. Some people try to figure out how to take a full position to a profit target. There's a give and take that comes with doing that. You might have a profit target that the market says that's not the profit target. So we're going to turn around and take your money. You have to be willing to accept that. You could also be the trader that says, if I see profit, I'm going to take something off the table. But then what you're accepting with that, right? The take is, hey, I'll take profits as the market is going in my favor. The give is, I'm never going to hold a full position to a profit target. For me, I'm the latter. I've had too many times where I set a profit target. I think I'm pretty good at identifying levels in the market. Sometimes the market doesn't agree with those levels. There's too many times where I've had a full position get to within 2% of my profit target, turn around and stop me out because I'm like, oh yeah, you're supposed to leave your trades and let them work and, come back and watch it later. I decided that that wasn't what I was willing to accept. So I've had to find a way to trail my profits. You can see on this S&P trade that I was in here, I got short 3. I'm out 1 at 69.17s, which was that first level of support on Coach Paul's pivots. And then the last one I was able to let run. That's what I've decided I'm comfortable with. Did I want to hold a full 3-lot position all the way to the lows? Yeah, I did. But do I have a guarantee that that's going to happen? I don't. So because I don't have those guarantees and we operate in uncertainty, I'm taking the money out of uncertainty. Hopefully that makes sense.
Well, Mark Minaveri, boy, that's a great name out of the past, great trader.
Yeah.
And also, if I just don't say plan your trade and trade your plan for just to say something.
Right. Right.
You could bring consistency, and that consistency comes from risk management and looking for a setup. And taking a reasonable profit.
Yep.
2 to 1. I'm running out in day trades. I've had that set up, and you can use Topstep platform to take those trades. 2 to 1 or whatever your risk reward is. That brings consistency. And what we talk about this before, it's so tempting to see these big moves and go, I just got to catch one of these. Get 5 minis.
Sell it up here, buy it back down here.
So now you just made a decision with certainty.
Yeah.
The problem is you're looking backwards into the past.
Yep.
Consistency, a 2 to 1, 2.5 to 1, even 1.5 to 1, especially when you're just starting out, is putting money in the account. You can be more consistent. You're emotionally stable because one of the things what happens. So you're looking for you're looking for the grand slam, not let alone a home run when you're looking at that.
Yep.
And everybody loves a grand slam and it gets on the highlight reel. What's doesn't come on the highlight reel is the swing and miss or the pop-up fly ball.
Yeah.
That takes you out of an inning. It just looks so tempting.
Yep.
But that it's a low percentage. And
low percentage outcome. Yeah, absolutely. It's not what we can measure for. Every once in a while, you're going to catch one, but if that's what I don't know. I've just never seen it work for anybody that goes for that every single time. Even some of the bigger numbers that we see, you see the same people on that P&L leaderboard. They look like home runs, but that is just their standard operation right now. They have an account that can facilitate those trades. It's the same way as somebody making $350 a day. It just looks crazy, but I guarantee you those people are following the same process day in and day out. And then every once in a while, the market, throws an easy one and says, hey, here's your reward for continuing to follow your process. That's all this is. Let's take a look at gold. We are kind of running late on time here. And I mean, we've been having great conversations, so who cares? But what are we seeing here in gold?
Oh, what's the white line? taking a pause. We had this big break. We're testing it. Speaking of patience, we had that big breakout above the 50%, and we're in a holding pattern, still bullish, but that on the daily, but it's an inflection point.
Yeah.
Not bearish, still in an uptrend, but what do you can say we have balance moving out of it, imbalance to the upside.
Yeah.
This is where longs get nervous.
Yep.
Impatient sellers get hit. So it's interesting. It's the end of the month coming up here tomorrow.
Yeah.
What happened at the end of the month last month?
I don't remember.
Let's look.
Take a look at the daily. Oh, that happened. Yeah, that was wow,
Yeah.
that was a month ago. I mean, I guess February is the shortest month of the year.
Short month. It was 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But slowing down, indecisive, still friendly. Let's look at the 30-minute.
Richard Harris in the chat says, if you trade any moving average, you'll never be consistent. I agree. I mean, trading anything on its own, moving average on its own is probably not enough of a strategy. Using it as a reference point like we do here, I think that's probably the best way to look at it. Right? It's the market's response to an area that is an average. Right? And that's all it is. If you think, yeah, moving average, I'm going to buy it there, I'm going to sell it there, that's probably not enough. It's like you're making a cake with just flour. You need some more ingredients. Here's the 30-minute, Coach Paul, in gold. That VWAP almost didn't leave that range at all. This was a mess of a day, in my opinion.
It reflects what we just saw in the daily. It's
yeah.
Look at but the selling. When we broke the new lows, we had the highest volume. I don't even think that does justice, that half hour. It was within minutes that recovered. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So
this was a mess.
The string isn't broken. We're in range. There was really no direction, rotation, violent rotation on the short term.
Yep.
Now, I think this is a day where it tests you if you're trading gold.
Yeah.
Where you can easily lose control. Like getting short, that breakout, this punishes breakout traders.
Oh, yeah, it does.
But we did. What did we settle? Unchanged? I mean, it was
down 0.47% on the day.
Which in gold is within reasonably unchanged.
Yeah, that's pretty much unchanged.
I don't,
I'm not touching it.
Not touching it.
Yeah. I'm not touching it right now.
And notice that the longer we stay, that VWAP stayed into that first half an hour, the less the breakout matters. So what am I saying? That look at VWAP, even if you bought it under VWAP, just you got selling.
Yeah.
Over some buying, but measured from the opening, you had a hint right away. It took a long time.
Yeah. Pretty messy here. Messy price action. Hogue has actually been tracking the opening range trade that the house account's been taking. I think 27 of the past 28 days, it's traded both sides of the opening range. It's just not conducive to breakout trading right now. If you're a range trader, reversion to the mean. Again, 27 out of the last 28 days. That's the entire month. Coach Paul just said January 30th was that major sell-off day. There is still a lot of indecisiveness in this market and illiquidity as well. So just be careful if you're trading it. If you do, hey, there's opportunity in it. It's just not breakout opportunity right now. Let's get to. I don't even want to look at silver. I'm not trading silver. And there aren't a lot of other people trading silver either. Look at the volume. It's lower.
Well-
Yeah, it's some of the lowest volume we've seen in a very long time. We're going back to October levels of volume, but the price is doubled. So there's still someone who has to operate in the silver market. That someone is not me. I'm not touching this.
You know who has to operate there? Dealers,
Yep.
miners. They're there no matter what.
Yeah.
So we can move on.
Yep. We are going to move on to the market
Crude.
that somebody said has the potential to be the market of 2026. This daily candle is pretty significant here in crude oil. Why do I say that? This is one of the highest. It's the highest volume daily candle that we've seen. Highest or second highest here? Let's take a look.
One of the highest of the year.
Yeah, of the year so far. It's the second highest of the year. Highest volume candle. You know, just go back and look here. Kind of hiding behind Coach Paul, but we haven't had many days in the past year and a half that were more volume than what happened in crude oil today. I don't even really know what the headlines were. I know the Iran-U.S. talks are going on right now. They're kind of back and forth. I don't know if there has been a resolution. I'll have to review that after we get off of here. But what are you seeing here on the daily, Coach Paul?
Where did we get down to today? The 20, the moving average, which
Yep.
is still moving higher. It's slowed down, but still that structure is still positive. The daily J trade is still intact, but what? Look at the candle.
Yeah.
But look at the volume. Didn't break this. I would have thought there was lingering buying underneath.
Yeah.
So it's still positive. I have found it was the J trade of all J trades on the half hour today.
Take
Maybe
a look.
not of all, but one that belongs in the Hall of Fame
No,
of J trades.
the J trade of all J trades, we know which one that is.
So on the 30-minute,
go to crude oil. On the 30, here is last night's open. We've been talking about this, but time of day is a level. The London Open is really the open for crude oil. And for who had asked in the chat, how do I set up this range? What I'm using is just the fib tool. The hotkey for it is Alt F, right? So you don't see me going to click this thing here because I'm just doing Alt F and then dragging it out. But the reason mine looks like this is because in the fib retracement, I only have 0, 0.5, and 1 selected. And I'm anchoring this to significant price action candles, right? So significant price action and volume, whether it's a session open or a high volume candle, because I just need a visual reference to where volume traded. Crude oil starts trading in London, Coach Paul.
Yes, we've seen that many times, and it's an energy capital. Now, going into today's action in that crude, we'll look at using that half an hour. Let's start out with London, where we found the beginning of the break and with urgency. And it was a big break. I mean, it looked like it was falling off the face of the earth.
Yep.
But not all J trades are failed selling. We get continuation J trades.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at when we get to the low, that volume was the highest of the day.
On the 30-minute right here. Yeah.
On the 30-minute. And what kind of, it's a hammer or a dragonfly candle. It's very rare. I was just flying through and I saw that and my eyes almost jumped up. Take a look at that. So what happened here?
Those sellers they ran into a brick wall.
We had hidden buyers.
Yeah.
So they had to sell it. Either there were resting orders. I don't read the DOM. But I can look at the result of that candle when came right back and finished unchanged at the heaviest volume of the day at that point.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. By the way, that was right off the third level of support, which Crude hasn't hit. That hasn't had that big of a break in a month at least.
Oh wow!
So there was buyers down there. They didn't text me or call me and tell me we're going to buy down here, but
showed signs.
The price action did.
Right.
And this was first of all, that is a very rare candle. Remember, that came off of lows, and those would. I don't have the pivot, but it was off the third level of support, which we rarely hit. Then what's the next? We close above it and rallied like $2.50. Now you talk about if I was a really patient person,
yeah,
like Bruce Lee crazy discipline, all I would wait for is those type of candles.
Oh man, what?
But I don't have that patience. But what a move! I mean, just look at what happened. There was trapped. They trapped some sellers down there.
Yeah.
And what does trapped selling do? It exacerbates the reaction. I know this one. And like I said, but when I was trading, you hear this, and it's just going down. It's really easy. All of a sudden, some entity just goes, sold.
Yeah.
I'll buy them. They don't even put a, they'll just take all the volume.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen from speculators. That comes from an institution. And that's what that candle represents.
Yeah.
And when we talk about being able to take losses, you could have been short here, smiling like this is easy. And all of a sudden, around the house, right? You're a boxer, you don't even see it coming.
Yeah.
Bam. That's what that represents. And I mean, it was vertical after that. As much dramatic as that break was, the rally was twice as dramatic.
Yeah.
And I think that's a further confirmation that this market isn't done.
Agreed. I would, this candle ended red on the day. I wouldn't take anything from that. We are still holding up this pattern that we've said, kind of channeling upwards. The geopolitical risk, the headline risk is still out there in this market. I think we're very easily at a point, and I said this during the opening call, that we could get a headline that shoots us up to $70 or another one that pushes us right down to $60. And I'm leaning towards the long side just because of the way things look. But at any moment, we could get a headline that is going to get this market going crazy. But until then, there's a decent amount of opportunity to trade it. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of it, everyone. We had Chez ask, could those orders be seen on order flow at that level? I'm sure it could. If I could pull up Quantower, I maybe could take a look, but we're running out of time here. I'm sure it was there. Something happened at that level with the volume. I'm looking at a 5-minute chart here. Yeah, something happened down there. But any other markets, Coach Paul? Anything else you got on your scouting report? Equities are providing great opportunities to trade. Oh,
yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Equities have. To me, but I'm getting paid mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Is in a Crude.
Okay.
It's been great. Bitcoin had a turnaround also. It's acting like an equity.
Yeah. Oh man, I wanted to. I was short this yesterday. This chop.
We're a day soon. Yeah. Now in that structure, we had this break. We're still inside that structure. We're still above the 200 moving average.
Mhm.
I still like it. That kind of action from SI, by the way, I'm a probabilistic thinker. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but that structure, we come back and test it. It was severely tested. There's a lot of tension here, but it didn't break it. And we're over that 200. I think, and there's a good trade coming out of there. And to me, I want to look to trade it to the upside.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look here. Got some questions in the chat. FD Trader says, given we had the same result as the last NVIDIA earnings report, do you think we will follow the same pattern and rally like we did the days following the Q3 earnings on November 19th? Great question. I'm trying to answer that question without getting into a predictive mindset. What happened 3 months ago with the NVIDIA earnings, I think showed a similar pattern today with the sell-off after the earnings. But there's PPI coming out tomorrow, which is its own catalyst. So I'm gonna say I don't know, and I'm gonna take tomorrow as its own day, just because I don't really think the market cares about NVIDIA anymore in the same way that it did in 2025. Not right now. Maybe it's not the same, you know, it doesn't have the same effect, right? NVIDIA was LeBron James last year. It took the market, put it on his back, said, you know, we're going higher. It's starting to look like the market doesn't care as much. So there, to me, there has to be something else that's there. So honestly, in looking at the equities, I think it's telling me on a higher time frame, and this is just my opinion, I'm not going to trade off of this. It's telling me that it needs more of a correction before we continue higher. But that can change tomorrow. So I'm going to trade off of the day-to-day. Yeah, Richard Harris, I see what you're saying there in the chat. Hopefully that's not the case. It's not what happens. But, you know, with the Iran U.S. negotiations going on right now, if things escalate, how do the markets respond? I'm sure if you could pick up some headlines and, you know, do that type of back test, you can see how the markets respond. But it's information, right? The markets could respond in a completely different way. Who knows? But I could imagine what it's going to do to the oil.
It goes back to our discussion from earlier.
Yeah,
it's uncertain.
Yep.
It's always uncertain.
Volatility.
Stay in the present. Make decisions. But you can't. That's what. And I'm going to leave with this. That's why you have to have a trading plan to execute.
Yep.
All right. Well, good luck. Tomorrow is what? Did you say PPI or something?
Yeah, we have PPI tomorrow. Chicago PMI as well. So that PPI print, again, we say it all the time. Anytime we get one of these big prints, you do not have to try to guess where the market is going to go. Please don't try to guess where the market is going to go. Let the market decide where it's going to go and trade from there. There was a question from, I think, Gabriella in the chat earlier and said, how often does the opening range trade work in the equities? Gabriella, my answer for you is if you're looking at all four of them, it's usually one of them where it's going to show up on a day-to-day basis. Usually, if I look at the same equity market every day, some days it's going to happen, some days it's not. We'll do this real quick and then we'll get out of here. Coach Paul, sorry, I don't know why I just extended this another 5 minutes, but if you got to get out of here.
I came in 5 minutes late.
There you go. Here's the S&P on the top right. Beautiful trade today. The NASDAQ on the top left. Another beautiful opening range trade today. If we look at the Dow on the bottom left here, did it quote unquote work? It depends, right? We had a failure of a push to the upside and then a sell-off, and then the Russell on the bottom right, which the Russell I thought was going to just rally hard today. The Russell was a roller coaster, right? So if I only look at the Russell, did the opening range trade work today? not the way I look at it. But if I only look at the Russell, did the opening range trade work yesterday? Now, I realize that what I'm saying here is a skill that has to be developed over time. But if you default to one market every day, it's almost impossible to expect that the market is going to do the same thing every day. It's just not a realistic thing, right? We understand that markets tend to chop some days, they tend to trend other days depending on the circumstances. So if I look at one place, how often does it play out? There's probably a number there. I'm sure Edgeful has the stats, or someone has the stats on that, right? I'm looking at 2 days now where the Russell, 2 out of 3 days where it worked in the Russell. But if I keep going back, that number is going to change. The way I like to look at it, and again, I'm realizing that this is a skill that needs to be developed over time, but I think it can be developed over time. This is how my screen looks every day to start the morning. I have all 4 equity markets up because I know to a high probability, one of them is going to show up. My job is to identify the one where it shows up, and we have the DNA of it, right? We let the market determine the range. We attach VWAP to it. This is the way I do it. Let the market determine the range, attach VWAP to it, and whichever one looks most aggressive is the one that I should be looking to trade. If it looks like it's going to chop, that's somebody else's trade. That's not mine. Right? That's a range trader's trade. So for me, I like to increase the probability of that trade working out by looking for it in multiple places. Hopefully that makes sense. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. Anything else you got, Coach Paul?
And your trade your plan, and we will talk to you again tomorrow. Be aware of the number tomorrow morning. Highly suggest not trading in front of it.
100%. Coach Hoop is actually going to be joining Coach Ray for his class today at 7 p.m. So no 6 p.m. Coach Hoop class today. Coach Hoop and Coach Ray at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Then we got Coach Vince after that at 8 p.m. Eastern, and Coach Dakota with slow markets tonight at 8:30 Eastern time. Aaron with the London Open, 2:30 Eastern. D with the metals markets at 5:30, and then we'll be back for the opening call tomorrow to take a look at that PPI print. Trade well, everybody. Manage your risk, and we will see you all then. Bye. That's all good. Oh, D's off tomorrow, everybody. It's Friday.